And we're going to start things off with breaking news here at 11, where just hours ago, President Trump announced the U.S. had successfully struck 3 sites in Iran, saying it has reduced the country's nuclear capabilities. Thanks so much for joining us here at 11. I'm John Adams. This is the first time America has struck Iran directly in the recent conflict sparked with Israel, and this move is considered a major escalation. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
Thank you very much.
In a dramatic escalation, President Trump tonight ordering U.S. airstrikes on 3 nuclear sites inside Iran, calling the attack successful.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat.
These White House photos show the president and his close advisors in the Situation Room as events unfolded. The targets include the Fordo nuclear enrichment facility buried deep under a mountain that only U.S. bunker-busting bombs could reach. President Trump had set a 2-week deadline late last week to allow time for a diplomatic solution before changing course. Early Saturday, Iran sent a barrage of missiles into Israel. Israeli forces have been hammering Iranian nuclear and military sites, aiming to destroy the nation's ability to build a nuclear weapon. President Trump saying it's now up to Iran to make peace.
If they do not, future attacks will be far greater.
Immediate reaction coming in from Capitol Hill, with Republican Representative Thomas Massie, who introduced a bipartisan war powers resolution last week, saying of the U.S. strikes, quote, "This is not constitutional." Others, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, praising the move for preventing the, quote, "world's largest state sponsor of terrorism" from obtaining the most lethal weapon on the planet. Iran's supreme leader warned last week that any U.S. military involvement would bring irreparable damage. President Trump posting that any retaliation by Iran against the U.S. would be met with far greater force. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And our local leaders are reacting to President Trump's decision to strike Iran today. Senator Jeff Merkley criticized the move, saying in part that it violates the Constitution, which requires congressional authorization for war. Mayor Lacey Beatty of Beaverton also issued a statement saying in part, the decision to bomb another nation's nuclear infrastructure should never be made by one person. This is exactly why the founders gave Congress, not the president, the power to declare war. And Congresswoman Maxine Dexter posted on Facebook saying in part, as a mother, I am fervently committed to protecting our children from another endless war. The American people and our brave service members deserve answers, and I will demand the Trump administration provide them. We'll continue to monitor how local leaders are responding to these strikes. Meanwhile, closer to home, Governor Tina Kotek has declared a state of emergency in the wake of the Rowena Fire burning in the gorge. Here you can see Senator Ron Wyden touring some of the destruction from the fire in these photos he posted to X earlier today. The fire is still burning at around 37,000 acres and is 93% contained. On Friday, Kotek's office said early assessments of the fire showed, quote, major damage to homes, businesses, in addition to significant debris and infrastructure damage. The emergency declaration will allow the Oregon Fire Marshal to use more resources to assist Wasco County crews. Next week, Wasco County will hold 2 events to assist people who have been impacted by the fire. The fire's cause is still being investigated. Well, turning now to our local weather, and when you think about the first day of summer, you think sunny skies and warm weather, and today felt anything like that. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joining us now. So Joe, how much rain did we see out there today? It seemed like quite a bit.
Yeah, we did. You know, models were right on, showing that we could see close to an inch of rain, and that's what we got very close to at the Portland International Airport. Here's a look at the latest numbers, almost 9/10 of an inch of rain, and yeah, we could maybe squeeze out a few more numbers here over the next 45 minutes or so along the Oregon coast. Yeah, you saw a lot of rain as well, and the more south you went, Tillamook, you got in a little bit of the rain action as well, seeing close to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Right now, we're done with the heavy amounts of rain. And, you know, earlier in the morning, it started out pretty heavy, and then it was just more kind of that mist, almost showery, constant kind of conditions for a good portion of the day. But this is that upper level low. It's going to push off to the east. Again, as it does, we'll continue to see some light showers going into the morning hours tomorrow. But I think for the most part, we're going to be done with really heavy rain. But I want to point out Mount Jefferson right now. You've been seeing some snow showers. In fact, some of the ski resorts, anywhere from about 4 to almost 6 inches of snow has fallen in the last 24 hours. Kind of wild to think. First Saturday of summer, John, and we're tracking a snowstorm. Well, maybe not a snowstorm, but a decent amount of snow up in the mountains.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. The Polk County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding a missing person. They say 75-year-old Stephen Wright hasn't been seen since yesterday, and he was last known to be in a wooded area west of Dallas. They add that Wright has mild cognitive issues and medical needs that make it important to find him soon. They describe him as about 6 feet tall and roughly 140 pounds. He has white hair and may be driving a 1999 Toyota 4Runner that is off-white in color with the license plate number right there on your screen. If you see him or that car, call 911. Portland police say they arrested 17 people in the month of May during an ongoing human trafficking mission. Their efforts are focused along Northeast 82nd Avenue in Sandy, an area that residents have repeatedly complained about. Police also say officers towed 6 cars and gathered information on other suspects related to human trafficking. PPB's Victim Services Unit worked with the nonprofit Safety Compass to connect victims with resources and assistance. Safety Compass offers advocacy services to individuals under the age of 25 who are survivors of human trafficking. Police ask that if you know of a suspect or someone who's being trafficked, call 911 or the National Human Trafficking Hotline. That's right there on your screen. People came together last night to remember Evelyn, Peyton, and Olivia Decker, 3 young girls allegedly killed by their father, and to make a push for change. Local lawyers are looking at state laws around Amber Alerts and mental health services. A custody attorney for the girls' mother says Travis Decker, a former Army Ranger, actively looked for help but came up empty. After the children went missing, Washington State Patrol says 2 of the 5 criteria to send out an Amber Alert were not met: abduction and immediate danger.
Did not see him as an immediate physical danger to his children, despite the fact that he had a well-established history of mental health issues. And had they had seen it that way, those children might still be alive.
The Central Washington Veterans Counseling LLC said due to funding shortages, if Travis had sought treatment, they would have had to refer him to another facility or place him on a wait list. A monster transportation package appears headed for a vote on the Oregon House floor on Monday. A bill to fund road and bridge projects in the state passed out of committee yesterday, with some behind-the-scenes wrangling. Our Libby Dowsett reports on how a last-minute change-up has some Republicans calling the process corrupt.
Aye, and the motion passes.
The transportation package would provide an estimated $14.5 billion in new revenue for transportation repairs, maintenance, and expansion projects in Oregon over the next 10 years. Republicans say it's the largest tax hike in state history.
It's absolutely the reverse. It's the flip side of accountability.
The package aims to fund a whole host of road and bridge projects. In turn, taxpayers would pay more in taxes and fees for gas, transit, new and used cars, vehicle registrations, titles, and electric vehicle road use.
For decades, Oregon has been disinvesting in our roads, and we can see it in the comparison with what other states have been paying. Washington is $1,068, California is $1,120.
The transportation package nearly didn't make it out of committee, with Democratic Senator Mark Meek saying he would not support the current version of the bill. A few days later, he was off the committee.
I was removed from this committee because of my opposition to this bill.
The legislature's website no longer shows Meek on the Transportation Committee. His photo replaced with Senate President Rob Wagner's.
Being able to go back forward and tell our cities and our counties who are struggling so much right now to know that they're going to be able to keep their basic infrastructure up and also make progress in some of these other areas.
The Oregon Capitol Chronicle reporting Senator Wagner ousted Meek from the committee and installed himself after Meek voiced concerns. Supporters say the package may not be perfect, but it's crucial.
At this moment, I just think the stakes are really high, and I don't think Oregonians can afford to take the damage, the hurt that we'll cause if we kick the can down the road.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.